If you hear a fiddle player playing Donegal music anywhere and you don't see him, you know straight away he's from Donegal. I think it comes from the cradle. You know, the real bow hand and the lift. That's wild and mountainy music.
There was at least one fiddle in every house nearly, and maybe 3 fiddle players.
People's understanding of Donegal fiddle music was it was bad music, and it was, worse still, bad Scottish music.
A lot of people say to us when we're playing in bigger cities like New York, they say they kind of sense the countryside in our music. And why not? Because the music was composed here in a rural society, connected to the earth, and people sense that in these concrete jungles. So they feel an escapism in the music.
Donegal fiddle music has a special sound to it. It would definitely contrast with East Galway, which would have a very wistful sound. Donegal is a very vibrant form of music. It has a tremendous drive, tremendous lift and power to it. In terms of influences on the Donegal style, there's definitely the impact of the music of Scotland. The potato harvesting squads of West Donegal would go over and work seasonally harvesting the Scottish potato crop. They would have a fiddle player in their squads. They didn't only just bring back the fiddle, they actually brought back the tunes. The melodies would by and large be the same, but they wouldn't play it, if you like, in a Scottish style. It would be adjusted to have, if you like, a Scottish melody, but with a Donegal sound.
Scotland is important in Donegal for years and years through fishermen, through the language. You have Gaelic in Scotland, you have Gaelic here. My grandmother was born in Glasgow, although she was of Donegal parents. So there's that strong connection, and when we first went to Glasgow, my mother was able to walk me through Glasgow and she knew all the different roads, but when I brought her to Dublin, she hadn't a clue where she was. So Glasgow was the real capital of Donegal.
In this part of Donegal, they mostly always played fairly high pitch. They thought it was more life in it for dancing and for solo even. But then, if you wanted then to play the bagpipes on the fiddle, you would have to tune her down, the 3rd string, tune her down, and the bass as well. The class in my school that was in the same class as me, but every one of them nearly went to Scotland, along with myself. That's where all the good work was in Scotland, and people thought nothing of going to Scotland. Their music was much the same as ours. And we liked that kind of music, you see. You'd be learning tunes, you'd have them with you from Scotland.
A lot of people who don't particularly like Donegal music try to castigate it by saying, oh, that's only Scottish stuff. But it isn't. If you got a Scottish player to come over and listen to a good Donegal fiddle player and say, is he playing Scottish music? He'd say, no way, absolutely not. A lot of the repertoire is common. In fact, Highlands, which are one of the really key signatures in Donegal fiddle playing, an awful lot of Scottish strathspeys were actually converted into Highlands by removing that sort of long note and cutting it down so that it was more rhythmic. And it fitted into the type of dance that people like doing in Donegal, which was Highlands.
I think when a Highland is well played, one thing which will jump out immediately is swing in the playing, the rhythm and the timing of the playing. Melodically it's simple, but listen to the timing of it and you know that there's something special in that.